It's day two of Wimbledon, and this is tournament in a tea break. It's quite late again after the end of the first round. You're listening to Ros Satar from Britwatch Sports.
And Chris Oddo from Tennis Now.
Hurrah! Not quite as chaotic as yesterday, but it did have its moments, I think. Where shall we start? Let's look at the quarter of death. I haven't got a deep enough voice. Do the quarter of death. Well, no, we'll just say the quarter of death. In that kind of the quarter.
The quarter of death. How's that?
That's actually pretty good. That's actually quite scary, and I'm a little bit worried now. But anyway, the quarter of death. This is, of course, the quarter that has number one, Ashley Barty, Garbina Muguruza, but not for long, Donna Vekic, but not for long, and Serena Williams, Belinda Bencic, Julia Gerges, and also the defending champione, Angelique Kerber. So, Angelique Kerber started off play today, and I have to say, every time I looked at her, she looked a little bit stressed, actually. She just looked like everything was like too much of a hassle, and even when she went up a break ahead, she looked like the world was coming in. She looked like the tennis equivalent of Chicken Licken, with the world falling, the sky falling in. But she did win. She did admit in press that she had a lot of nerves. Felt like all that mix that you have of the good emotions and like the nerves of, oh my God, how embarrassing will it be if I go out in the first round.
Okay.
But, she did her thing, and she sort of got the win, and that's really all you can say at this point, really.
Yeah.
After one,
Got the match under her belt, feeling the pressure. That was the first thing she talked about in press.
Yeah.
She's good on this surface. She's good at Wimbledon. She's 31-10 here lifetime. It's not like last year with some kind of like surprise that she just like showed people that she could be good at Wimbledon on the grass. She always is, and we expect her to do more of the same this year.
Yeah.
She's going to be a factor.
I think so. And I think the fact that she actually survived the first round in what is shaping up to be a horrible quarter was quite good. Ashley Barty also came through quite well. At the moment now, I think she's 13 wins.
13 straight. The top seed
straight.
rolls, drops 6 games, makes it look easy.
Yeah. Also in that little quarter of death, though, I just want to give a shout out to young Harriet Dart, who went down a set, looked a bit distressed, had the Duchess of Cambridge watching her for the set that she lost.
Yeah.
And then the Duchess of Cambridge wandered off, and then suddenly Dart started to play super well. So a good win for her. Her first match win here should give her a little bit of confidence. A little sad word for Donna Vekic, who, grass is her thing, and she's just done abysmally on grass this year. Well, I say abysmally. She obviously reached the Nottingham final, lost to Garcia, cried on Annabelle Croft's shoulder, and then since then it's just been a bit of a disaster for her. But Barty came through, Kerber came through. One person that didn't come through, though, was former champion Garbina Muguruza.
Yeah, just flat today.
Yeah, she really was. She went down to Beatriz Haddad Meyer. And you're right. She looked flat. She looked listless. I don't think any Brits were. Well, I don't think anybody English speaking was in her press. I think it went straight to Spanish. I'm not sure whether we've got a translation. Mm-hmm. It doesn't look like it. I quickly tuned in to see, and it was straight to Spanish.
Unfortunately, didn't catch a lot of it. It's just like one and done for Garbina at Wimbledon. It just doesn't make sense. She showed a few signs of life at Roland Garros and ran out of steam there against Stevens, and that was really, good effort. Stevens we know how tough Stevens can be on the clay and on Chatrier, but here this is really disappointing, and you got to start taking stock at some point. This has been a year without really a special memory for Garbina at the slams, and she's usually good for one of those in a season. Is it going to happen in New York? What's going on with
she's
this
never
two-time
done particularly well in New
champ?
York either, though, has she?
No, not at all. So
okay.
A little bit to worry about in her camp. I wanted to say one thing about Vekic, who you mentioned earlier.
Yep.
She lost to Allison Risk on court number 1. They closed the roof
I
there
know.
for the first time at 5-5
The
in
roof,
the third set.
The roof is closing.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool to see. Crowd was into it. And big win for Allison Risk, who, as we all know, that was a match we were looking forward to and thought maybe was kind of an unfortunate first rounder, and it turned out to be unfortunate for Vekic.
Serena Williams. Let's quickly talk about Serena before we move on to some of the men. She won pretty handily, I think. Well, she certainly took the first set pretty handily. Giulia Gatto Monticone.
Yeah.
Came back a little bit at her. I think she admitted that she felt a little bit rusty. Of course, the good news is that she's going to be playing mixed doubles with Andy Murray.
Great news for
great.
fans, that's for sure.
But also, I think it's because she said, I need matches. And that, to me, is a good sign. So her knee's back to normal. She knows that if she wants to make a serious tilt at the final, she needs to get more grass under her feet. Yeah. She didn't play a warm-up. She never does play a warm-up, to be fair. But she didn't play a warm-up, and she hasn't played since
Roland Garros. Since
Roland Garros.
Sophia Kenin took her out so decisively. But I guess the theme here is what we're continuing with, which is that they talked a lot about the fact that she got the medical attention in Paris after Roland Garros and said the knee is a lot better, if not completely better. And now the fact that she's willing to play mixed and play potentially 5 extra matches means the shoulder's good, the body's good, the knee's good, the confidence is there. She wants matches.
Yeah.
It's a good sign, I think, if you're a Serena Williams fan.
Yep, I think so. And just a quick word before we move on to the men on the comeback of Petra Kvitova at the bottom of that half. You know, she hasn't played again since Rome, I think, was her last. With this tear in her forearm, or tear as she says, which I love. So she's basically not hitting at all on the day off, and then, you know, maybe practicing on the day of the match. And I think if this works, I can see her adopting this for the future.
Yeah,
but
she's so laid back. She loves to take it easy.
But right? it was a good win. And Ons Jabeur rolled her ankle in Eastbourne. But you know, she can come up with crazy angles, as can Kvitova, to be fair. I mean, they both tend to find these crazy sort of shots from around the court. So this shaped up to be looking like a good match. Again, Kvitova dropped just 6 games.
Yeah. What's your take on Petra? We were both in there in the press conference with her. You got any other takeaways from her? I thought it was, good. All things are looking pretty good for her.
Yeah, I think she's going to see how the arm pulls up. Because obviously, I mean, she alluded to it in her answer to me about, the difference is obviously when you start to play matches. That's where the real adaptation will come. But it's encouraging that she won so comfortably against what could have been a very tricky player.
Mm-hmm. And she seems very relaxed, not really stressed out about it. We've seen her stressed at Wimbledon before, of course. 2-time champ, a lot of expectations, expects a lot from herself here. But right now, I think she just wants to be healthy and just play free. And I think what we're gonna see from her is a lot of aggressive tennis. She doesn't want to have long matches. She doesn't want to have long points. So look for that jaw-dropping baseline game to come into full effect.
Let's turn our attention to the blokes.
The blokes.
Well, now that actually is fairly interesting. Roger Federer came out against the little-known Lloyd Harris of South Africa and dropped the first set.
Yeah,
that sent my Twitter timeline into a bit of a flurry.
Yes.
What happened? What happened to him?
I just think slow start at Wimbledon. It's the last thing you'd expect from Roger Federer, but really, I think when I was watching that match early in the second, and Mert was next to me at the desk saying, "This is weird. This is crazy. What's going on?" And I said, "Just give it a few games." And lo and behold, he breezed through the second set and took over the match. And then you look at his stat line; it looked pretty sparkling. So he obviously picked up the pace after losing that first set. Harris had a little difficulties physically.
Yeah.
But I don't know really what to make of Roger Federer losing that first set. It was strange for sure.
Did he say anything in particular that we think would be of any interest? I mean, I suppose the man does feel nerves.
Said his legs weren't moving, things were not happening. And it just, sometimes that happens when you're 37, I guess. Surprise, surprise. Doesn't happen often for Federer.
No.
He just said he felt like he was a little slow early, off the block. So I think, hey, maybe that's a good little wake-up call for him.
Yeah.
Maybe, expect him to start fast in his next few rounds. Again, he's got a pretty good draw. He can start slow if he wants. It's for him, it's about the way he's going to finish in the later few rounds.
Well, of course, I mean, Nadal got through his match, but really what everybody was looking at was Kyrgios, who took himself to 5 sets for no apparent reason whatsoever, other than why not.
Gosh, everybody was watching that match.
Yeah.
Isn't it? This guy, say what you will about him, but the whole press room, you look around, every TV has Kyrgios on. There are people huddled around, laughing, joking.
Our whole
There's
press
something
room,
going on.
our whole writing room was chuckling because everybody was watching his press conference, which was
That was
hilarious.
brilliant. It was
and
brilliant.
all you could hear was people with headphones going at various intervals. But we do have Nadal versus Kyrgios in the second round.
And they're not going to have beer tonight at the Dog and Fox.
Yeah. I think that I suspect that Nadal will win, but I think he's going to make Nadal work for it.
I looked up a stat today, and I was not really surprised by it, but it struck me. 5 tiebreakers they've played in their 6 matches. Kyrgios has won them all. Of course, he won the 2 in Acapulco this year in that 3-set match, which was just off the hook, that match. And he won 2 in that 2014 meeting at Wimbledon, which was an insane match as well. So I expect that Kyrgios will be able to find his way into breakers the way he serves. So it's going to be up to Rafa to come up with the goods and breakers. And so he hasn't done it yet. So what can he do differently now?
Yeah. I agree. I think it makes for an intriguing matchup. And then there was nice little bits of needle from the thing. He was on good form in his press, actually. He wasn't sulky. He managed to pick up a lot of stuff. I mean, there was some really good. There was some just really hilarious pieces.
I can pick one out. Is why do you've done well against Rafa? Why do you do so well against the top players? It's just me, bro.
Yeah, I know. He was
the way he says things. He's a funny guy.
So let's have a think about tomorrow.
Sure.
We're back
to
the other side of the other side of the draw.
Day 3 of the championships.
So Karolina Pliskova gets the top billing in centre court. She's sneaking through the draw. She wasn't, she had a comprehensive win in her first round, which she doesn't normally do if she does well in Eastbourne. So let's see, because normally she'll then go out in the second round or something stupid. But I think even against Monica Puig, I think she should do well. She's
a player I've got my eyes on. I think deep run for her, looking like it should happen.
Oh, poor Stan against the man mountain that is Riley Opelka. But Simona Halep versus Michaela Buzanescu, that'll be an interesting one. They haven't played since the ITFs. Halep rolled her ankle. There's something about Halep and grass. It's just frustrating. She rolled her ankle in that semi-final in 2014. Oh, it's just heartbreaking, really.
Simona is still in chill mode. I was surprised to hear her still talking about that this far into the season. She still is kind of into this thing where in her head she doesn't want to have expectations. I mean, I don't think it's like she's not playing 100%, but she's just like relaxed. Whatever happens, it's fine. I don't know if that's really going to pay off for her in terms of Grand Slam results. At least it hasn't yet. But so interesting matchup with Buzanescu. Who's a pretty good player.
Novak faces Dennis Kudla. We've got Kyle Edmund on centre court. We've got Heather Watson opening things on number 1 court with Annette Kontaveit, whose season has kind of fallen off a cliff, really. She had that good run in Miami. She had that great run in Stuttgart where she reached the final. And since then, it's been a bit of a mess. That being said, Heather is a confidence player, and her confidence is a bit patchy just now. So I expect a 3-set roller coaster there. Kevin Anderson looked good in his match, his opening match. And then, of course, we've got Corey Goff versus Magdalena Rybarikova. Now, that's going to be an interesting one.
Oh, yeah. How can Coco Gauff back up that massive win against Venus Williams? That'll be a great one to watch. Tomorrow's interesting. There's a lot of matches not on the big courts. I'm not completely convinced that I'm going to keep my eyes on center court and number one so much tomorrow. I'm going to drift down to 12, find Victoria Azarenka and Tomjanovic, find Medvedev and Popyrin, cool matchup. Shea Sue and Kirsten Flipkins on 18, Sonia Kenin and Diana Yastremska on 18. So keep your eye all over the courts tomorrow. A lot of good matches.
And let's just have a quick flick through. Is Andy on the doubles? This is because I can see the doubles coming up. God, I didn't even think that Jonathan Ehrlich was still playing.
Doubles get started tomorrow. I don't think Murray's on.
I don't think he is.
Ticket.
No, I don't think he is. Okay, so we will be back tomorrow, will we?
I think so.
Okay. I will be on Love Sport Radio if you're listening at 7 till 8. And then I will hotfoot it back here and wait for you.
Sounds good.
Anxiously.
Sounds like a plan.
It does. Okay, so that's all from us. You've been listening to Ros Satar
and Chris Oddo.
Farewell.
Farewell.